Hey guys, what's up? It's Mark from Life Church. I wanted to do a quick 3-minute video on tithing. Numbers 18 makes it very clear that all of the tithes and the offerings go to the Levites. Verse 21 says, I give to the Levites all the tithes in Israel as their inheritance in return for the work they do while serving at the temple. Now the Levites would be like modern day version, would be like musicians, Sunday school teachers, ushers, etc. And if your church doesn't disperse all of the tithes and the offerings, as Numbers 18 makes clear over and over and over, to the people that are fulfilling the Levitical function, then they don't believe in tithing. Now, that's not a bad thing. Most of these pastors have instigated this mantra and they hammer people over and over out of fear that they're not going to cover their bills and so forth. But the good news is that New Testament giving is so much better. In fact, in Hebrews 7, it talks about how the Levitical priesthood was changed and done away with. And it even specifies in verse 18, it says the former regulation or commandment, which it's referring to tithing, is set aside because it was weak and useless, for the law made nothing perfect. We all hear Malachi 3 hammered on how, let's all bring the tithes into the storehouse. And the reality is, if an Israelite brought a tithe to the storehouse, they'd be put to death. The entire book is a correction that seems to be aimed towards priests. And it's the same thing we see in Nehemiah 11 through 13, where they have this sure ordinance set up for the musicians, and it only takes 2 chapters for the priests to stop dispersing the money to the people who are working in the temple. But the good news about the New Testament is in 2 Corinthians 9:6, it says, you must each decide in your heart how much to give. And don't give reluctantly or in response to pressure, for God loves a cheerful giver. Now, we've all heard the phrase, God loves a cheerful giver, and that gets pummeled, but few people back up a few phrases before that and say, let every man give as he sees fit in his heart, not out of spiritual or moral obligation. Now, the Greek word there is anagke, and what it means is spiritual or moral obligation. So New Testament giving is actually driven out of our new nature. It's not driven out of this desire to appease an angry mafioso God that's going to smite us and put us under a curse if we don't do X, Y, and Z. Jesus came to take away the curse, not to break off a bunch of curses from us. So just be released and be blessed, because I've heard it said tithing was training wheels for real giving. Now you have the most benevolent person inside of you, Christ, who's given more than any other existent being, and He's what drives you now. He's your new, he's the being you're in perfect union with, and that's what drives our giving, not fear. So hopefully this is helpful.